what exactly are methods? Any programming language?
Some,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Some method are nothing but we go for method whenever we have to perform a various tasks or various action. In a class, we can have n number of method.
Mhm.
As a programmer, it's our duty to invoke a method, and method have a body, a method have signature, and there are various type of method like no argument, yes return type, yes argument, no return type, yes argument, yes return type, no argument, yes return type. There are four types of method, and so method have a syntax like it has access specifier, non-access specifier, then
Mhm.
return type, then name of the method, and after that we will go with parameterized or non-parameterized methods.
Okay. So what is the difference between parameterized and non-parameterized? Can you elaborate a
So
little bit?
yes, sir. So parameterized constructor, parameterized method is nothing but when we are declaring a method or when we are providing a method
Mhm.
inside, when we name the method in places where we give a parameters, like we mentioned data types,
Mhm.
data types like primitive data type, and
Mhm.
non-parameterized we don't mention anything. And when we call the method, there we have to mention if we have a parameterized constructor, we have to pass the value. So in non-parameterized constructor, we don't have to pass the value when we are calling the methods.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Um, so you mentioned that you have you basically within the parenthesis you use the data type and you declare the data type. So if there are data types declared within the parenthesis, whatever the method name and parenthesis, then those are parameterized methods. And if you
Yes,
don't
sir.
specify anything, then they are not, right?
Non-parameterized.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between parameters and arguments?
Parameterized and argument. So
Yes.
both are same, sir. The different terminologies, sir, we used.
Okay. Both are not same. I mean, there is a difference. There is a minor difference. So
Okay, sir.
so basically, when you define a method, okay, so say for example, method addition, and then within parentheses you say int a comma int b or a comma b, whatever. I'm not specific to any language at the moment. So
Okay, sir.
this a and b are the parameters. When you call, the method and specify the actual values. So add
Oh,
addition, and then you pass the actual values 5 comma
okay.
6. Then that's the argument. Okay.
Okay, sir.
What is constructor?
So constructor are the special member of class. Sir, when we are creating an object, we call the constructor. Constructor cannot be inherited. There are some rules for constructor to be declared. The constructor name should be same as the class name.
Mhm.
Constructor contain any access specifier. Constructor cannot be given a static, final, or abstract. There are two
Mhm.
types of constructor: default constructor, user defined constructor. Default
Mhm.
constructor is nothing but it is implicit constructor in which we don't have any executable code, and whenever we create an object we will go with default constructor. And user defined constructor are of two type. One is parameterized, the another one is non parameterized. The parameterized are nothing but when we call the constructor we have to give the parameters, sir. And non
Mhm.
parameterized are nothing but when we call the constructor we will not mention any parameters, sir. This
Mhm.
is non parameterized constructor, sir.
Okay. So when we say default constructor, so
Okay, sir.
every class will
Every class
definitely
should have a it definitely have
has
a
it.
default constructor.
Is
Yes,
that true?
yes, sir. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. All right. And you mentioned about no argument constructor and parameterized constructor, right?
Okay, sir. Yes.
So when we say parameterized constructor, then how will you say for example, I have a class with the
Yes.
name addition, okay? And I ask you to define a parameterized constructor for this particular class.
So there are some set of rules for
Mhm.
parameterized constructor.
So for
Sir,
this
the
addition, so the class name is addition, okay?
okay, sir.
So what will be the constructor? I'll say have a constructor with two parameters. So how will you
Okay, sir.
define that constructor for that class?
Sir, like I have already mentioned, the class name and the constructor name will be same.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you have said that class name will be
addition.
The
Yeah.
constructor name will also be addition,
Mm-hmm.
and there are the number of arguments should be differ,
Mm-hmm.
types of argument should be differ, or the
Mm-hmm.
position of argument should be differ. Like you are telling, sir, there are two things inside a constructor, like int a, int b.
Mm-hmm.
So like it, if we have int a, then we go for string, and if in second addition we will go first for string then for int, or
Mm-hmm.
the number of it will be different, like two int one string, like these
Right.
are the,
Right.
yes.
Great. 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 All right. Nice. Yeah. So if you know the rules, then obviously you will be able to, when you are defining the parameterized constructor, you will be able to define them. Okay.